The unstoppable threat. The Galactic Council's Grand Chamber buzzed with tension as representatives from dozens of alien species gathered. Massive holograms floated above the room, showing a terrifying scene. The Crexan fleet had just obliterated the moon of Xenar in one shot. The moon, once home to billions, now hung in space as scattered debris. "The Crexans will stop at nothing," declared High Speaker Talvar, her glowing blue eyes scanning the assembly. "Their weapons can destroy planets. If we do nothing, they will come for all of us." Fear gripped the council members. The Crexans were a warlike species, relentless and cruel. They had risen to power by conquering weaker planets, leaving destruction in their wake. But their new weapon, the Stellar Breaker, was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. It could disintegrate planets in seconds. A hologram of Earth appeared in the center of the chamber. "This planet is their next target," Talvar announced. "Humanity must prepare to defend itself." The room fell silent. Humanity was a young species in the galaxy, relatively unknown and often underestimated. They had only recently joined the Galactic Council and had yet to prove themselves in any significant way. Most believed humans were fragile, unremarkable beings with no chance of survival against the Crexans. On Earth, the reaction to the Council's warning was far from what anyone expected. Instead of panic, humanity showed an eerie calm. World leaders held a brief meeting, then issued a simple statement: "We will not run. We will not beg. Let them come." While the Galactic Council scrambled to strategize, humans continued with their daily lives. Factories worked overtime, not building weapons but manufacturing satellites and devices with unknown purposes. Military bases operated in silence, their plans kept secret even from the Council. This strange calm unnerved the Council. "Do they not understand the danger?" asked an elder representative from the Varanus system. "They are fools," a Krylon ambassador scoffed. "Their arrogance will be their downfall." But not everyone was convinced. High Speaker Talvar studied humanity's response with growing curiosity. She reviewed historical records of humans and noticed something peculiar. They had a reputation for thriving in chaos. Stories of their resilience during disasters, wars, and even their harsh evolutionary past painted a picture of a species that refused to break. When the Crexan fleet finally arrived in Earth's orbit, the galaxy watched with bated breath. Hundreds of massive warships loomed in the sky, their black hulls absorbing all light. Crexan leaders issued a chilling ultimatum: "Surrender your planet, or be destroyed." Earth's response was a single word: no. The Crexans didn't wait. Their stellar breaker charged with a low hum, its energy building into a blinding red beam. Galactic Council ships, observing from a safe distance, braced for the worst. The beam fired directly at Earth, a force capable of ripping through continents. But something extraordinary happened. The beam struck Earth's atmosphere and vanished. It didn't explode or scatter. It simply disappeared, as though the planet had absorbed it. The Crexan ships paused, their commanders stunned. They fired again, this time with more power. Once again, the attack disappeared. Inside the Council observation ship, chaos erupted. "What just happened?" demanded a Loranian scientist. "Our sensors can't explain it," another stammered. "It's as if the energy dissipated." On Earth, people continued their routines as if nothing had happened. Crexan ships unleashed more weapons: plasma cannons, ion missiles, and gravitational disruptors. All of them failed. The sky remained clear, Earth untouched. The Galactic Council couldn't believe their eyes. Talvar ordered a direct transmission to Earth's leaders. "What is happening down there? How are you still alive?" she demanded. Earth's response was cryptic. The human ambassador, a calm woman named Maria Wells, appeared on the transmission. She smiled slightly and said, "The Crexans underestimated us. That's all you need to know." The Crexans, enraged by their failure, prepared for a more aggressive assault. They targeted Earth's major cities, hoping to bypass whatever mysterious defense was protecting the planet. Yet every missile, every weapon failed the moment it entered Earth's atmosphere. The Galactic Council began to realize this wasn't luck. Humanity had done something the galaxy didn't understand. Whispers spread among the Council representatives. Was it advanced technology? A natural planetary phenomenon? Or was it something more human? As the Crexan fleet scrambled for answers, one of their commanders sent a desperate message to their homeworld. Earth is impenetrable. Their defenses are beyond anything we've seen. What are these creatures hiding? The answer remained a mystery, but one thing was clear. The humans were not as weak as the galaxy had assumed. The Galactic Council watched in awe as Earth's leaders issued one final message to the Crexans. Leave now, or face the consequences. The Crexans hesitated. For the first time in their long history of conquest, they felt fear, the Council's confusion. The Galactic Council's observation ships lingered on the edges of Earth's solar system, their sensors locked on the planet. Every reading they captured made less sense than the last. Earth's atmosphere appeared completely normal. No strange energy signatures, no shield generators, nothing that could explain why Crexan weapons had failed. Inside the council chamber, arguments erupted among the representatives. "This is impossible," a reptilian delegate hissed, his scaly tail thrashing. "No species could survive such an attack, let alone with no visible defenses." "We've underestimated them," said High Speaker Talvar, her voice calm but firm. "Humanity is hiding something, and we must find out what." Meanwhile, the Crexans, humiliated by their failure, regrouped in orbit. Their commanders were furious. The Stellar Breaker, their ultimate weapon, had worked flawlessly on countless planets. Yet against Earth, it had been rendered useless. Crexan scientists pored over their data, searching for answers, but none came. "We will try again," growled Supreme Commander Vorsk, his jagged teeth glinting in the dim light of his warship. This time, with more firepower. As the Crexan fleet prepared for a second assault, the Galactic Council secretly dispatched a team of spies to Earth. The team consisted of the galaxy's most skilled operatives, including a Loranian telepath, a stealth expert from the shadowy Heknar species, and a Zenari linguist. Their mission was simple: infiltrate Earth, gather intelligence, and discover how the humans were repelling the attacks. The team's arrival was cloaked in secrecy. Their ship slipped past Earth's orbital satellites undetected and landed in a remote area of the planet. On Earth, the human response to the Crexans remained bafflingly calm. News broadcasts reported the failed attacks, but the people didn't panic. Instead, they carried on with their lives as if nothing extraordinary was happening. In the bustling streets of New York City, children played under clear skies, their laughter echoing off the buildings. In rural farmlands, tractors plowed fields untouched by the chaos above. Even military bases operated without urgency, their personnel going through standard routines. This behavior baffled the Council spies. They had expected to find a terrified population, scrambling for survival. Instead, they found humans behaving as though they were untouchable. The spies began their investigation, blending in with the human population. They hacked into communication networks, analyzed government data, and even posed as tourists to visit major landmarks. Yet, no matter where they looked, they found no evidence of advanced technology or secret weaponry. Back in space, the Crexans unleashed their second wave of attacks. This time, they fired not just their Stellar Breaker, but also dozens of other weapons: plasma bursts, ion cannons, and gravitational imploders. Once again, every attack failed. The plasma bursts fizzled out in Earth's atmosphere. The ion cannons discharged harmlessly, their energy dissipating like smoke in the wind. The gravitational imploders collapsed in on themselves, unable to function. The Crexan fleet descended into chaos. Technicians shouted over one another, commanders barked orders, and engineers desperately tried to identify what was going wrong. "This is madness. One Crexan officer exclaimed. "Our weapons are perfect. How is this possible?" Commander Vorsk slammed his fist against the control panel, his voice trembling with rage. "Perfect weapons mean nothing if they don't work. Find the problem, or I'll find someone who can." In the Galactic Council chamber, the representatives grew more restless. Every species had expected Earth to be wiped out in hours, but the humans had proven to be an enigma. The Council's own scientists were no closer to understanding the phenomenon than the Crexans were. "This could change everything," murmured a Varanus delegate. "If humans have developed a defense against Crexan weapons, they may hold the key to protecting us all." Or, countered a Kralin ambassador, his eyes narrowing, "they could become a greater threat than the Crexans. If humanity has this kind of power, what's to stop them from using it against us someday?" The room fell silent. It was a thought none of them wanted to admit aloud, but the possibility hung heavy in the air. Meanwhile, one of the Council spies, the Loranian telepath, made a startling discovery. While scanning the minds of human scientists in a secret research facility, she encountered something she had never experienced before: a mental block. Human minds, she realized, were unlike any other species. Their thoughts were layered and chaotic, making it nearly impossible to extract coherent information. Worse, the deeper she tried to probe, the more resistance she encountered. It was as though the humans' very minds were pushing her out. She reported her findings to the team. "Their technology may not be advanced," she said, "but their minds, there's something different about them. Something powerful." The Crexans, growing desperate, prepared for a ground invasion. If their weapons couldn't destroy Earth, they would conquer it the old-fashioned way, with brute force. Troop transports began descending from orbit, carrying thousands of Crexan soldiers armed with conventional weaponry. But as the first wave of troops landed on Earth, something unexpected happened. Crexan soldiers reported feeling weak, their movements sluggish. Their weapons malfunctioned, and even their advanced armor began to degrade. From orbit, Commander Vorsk watched in disbelief as his soldiers collapsed, unable to fight. "What is happening down there?" he demanded. On Earth, the humans watched the Crexans falter, their faces calm but their eyes sharp. They didn't fire a single shot. Crexans double down. The Crexan command ship hovered in orbit, its dark hull bristling with weaponry. Inside the war room, Supreme Commander Vorsk stood surrounded by his officers, glaring at the holograms of Earth's surface. The first wave of ground troops had been a complete failure. "Reports are coming in from all sectors, Commander," a Crexan lieutenant said, his voice shaking. "The troops are experiencing severe physiological distress, weakness, dizziness, even organ failure in some cases." Vorsk's claws scraped against the metal table. "And the weapons? Why did their rifles fail?" The lieutenant hesitated before responding. "It's not the weapons, sir. It's the environment. Earth's atmosphere, its gravity, even its magnetic fields. They're destabilizing our technology and affecting our biology." Vorsk slammed his fist on the table, his voice a guttural growl. "This is unacceptable. Earth is a primitive planet. We've conquered far more hostile worlds without issue. Fix this, or I'll find someone who can." The room fell silent. The Crexans weren't used to failure, and they certainly weren't used to fear. Yet the humans had made them feel both. On Earth, humanity remained eerily calm. In cities and towns, life carried on as usual. The news channels reported the Crexan invasion, but the stories were accompanied by footage of Crexan soldiers collapsing in the streets, their advanced armor sparking and failing. In one clip, a group of curious children approached a fallen Crexan soldier. The alien, unable to move, groaned as the children poked at its armor with sticks. A local police officer eventually intervened, shaking his head with a bemused smile. Across the world, similar scenes played out. Humanity wasn't panicked. They were amused. The Galactic Council's spies, still operating in the shadows, were growing more desperate. The team had been tasked with uncovering humanity's secret, but so far, they had nothing to show for it. "This doesn't make sense," the Heckner stealth operative muttered as he sifted through intercepted military communications. "There's no sign of advanced technology, no hidden superweapons. How are they doing this?" The Zeneri linguist, poring over ancient human texts, had a theory. "What if it isn't technology?" she said, her voice hesitant. The others looked at her. "Explain," the telepath said. "Humans have a history of adapting to hostile environments," the linguist continued. "Extreme cold, intense heat, high radiation. They've survived it all. What if their planet itself is their greatest weapon? Its conditions might be uniquely suited to humans but hostile to outsiders." The team fell silent. It was a possibility they hadn't considered, and it was a terrifying one. Back in orbit, Vorsk prepared for the next phase of his plan. If his ground troops couldn't fight, then he would overwhelm Earth with sheer firepower. The Krexans had more than just the stellar breaker. Their arsenal included city-destroying plasma cannons, molecular destabilizers, and gravitational bombs. "All ships target Earth's major cities," Vorsk ordered. "If we can't conquer them, we'll annihilate them." The Krexan fleet began its assault, raining destruction down on Earth. Plasma blasts lit up the skies, gravitational bombs created massive shockwaves, and destabilizers targeted entire regions. But once again, none of it worked. The plasma blasts fizzled out before reaching the ground. The gravitational bombs stopped midair and collapsed into harmless bursts of energy. The molecular destabilizers simply ceased functioning. From the Council's observation ship, High Speaker Talvar watched the display with wide eyes. This defies all logic," she whispered. Her science officer shook his head, his face pale. "It's as if Earth itself is rejecting the attacks. We've never seen anything like this." On the surface, humanity's leaders watched the failed assault with quiet satisfaction. In a secure command bunker, Maria Wells, Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Council, turned to her advisors. "Let them tire themselves out," she said calmly. "The more they try, the more they'll realize they can't win." One of her advisors frowned. "Should we tell them the truth about the field?" Wells shook her head. "Not yet. The longer they're in the dark, the better. Besides, they wouldn't believe us if we told them." The Krexan fleet was in chaos. Engineers and scientists worked frantically to understand why their weapons weren't working, but no answers came. Vorsk, furious, began issuing desperate orders. "Bring in the Markan disruptors. We'll tear the planet's surface apart if we have to." "Sir," one of his officers began hesitantly, "perhaps we should retreat. Regroup and—" Vorsk rounded on him, his eyes blazing with fury. "Retreat? We are Krexans. We do not retreat. We conquer, or we die trying." The officer swallowed hard and nodded, but the doubt in his eyes was clear. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council convened an emergency session. The representatives were divided. "Humanity has clearly developed something unprecedented," argued the Viranus delegate. "We should approach them diplomatically and offer an alliance." "An alliance?" The Kralin ambassador snapped. "Have you lost your mind? If humanity has this kind of power, they could become the greatest threat the galaxy has ever known. We need to contain them before it's too late." High Speaker Talvar raised a hand for silence. "We do not yet understand the full scope of their capabilities," she said. "Until we do, any action we take could have unintended consequences. For now, we observe." As the Council debated, humanity remained an enigma. On the surface, they were a peaceful species, content to live their lives without conflict. But the Krexan fleet had learned the hard way that there was far more to them than met the eye. Humanity's calm confidence. The Krexan fleet hung in Earth's orbit like a storm ready to unleash chaos. Yet their previous failures lingered like a shadow over their command center. Supreme Commander Vorsk paced in frustration, his claws clicking against the metal floor. Every strategy had failed. Every weapon had been useless. Yet retreating was unthinkable. They mock us, Vorsk growled, slamming his fist onto the control panel. Humans should be groveling for mercy, not daring to stand against us. This is unacceptable. His officers remained silent, unwilling to risk angering their commander further. Meanwhile, on Earth, the humans seemed to be enjoying their strange victory. News channels broadcast the Krexans' repeated failures, often with a touch of humor. Clips of Krexan soldiers stumbling on Earth's surface went viral. Memes of their weapons fizzling out became the talk of the internet. In one broadcast, a famous comedian joked, "The Krexans brought their best weapons," and Earth said, "Nah, not today." The audience roared with laughter. Inside the Galactic Council chamber, tension was mounting. High Speaker Talvar sat at the head of the assembly, listening to the endless debate. Some representatives wanted to negotiate with humanity, hoping to learn their secret. Others insisted that humanity's newfound power made them a threat that needed to be controlled. "They are a danger to all of us," shouted the Kralin ambassador, slamming his fist on the table. "If their planet can resist the Krexans, who's to say they won't turn that power against us someday?" "They haven't attacked anyone," countered the Varanus delegate. "They're simply defending themselves. Perhaps we should seek an alliance instead of treating them as enemies." Talvar raised her hand, silencing the room. "Before we act, we must understand the full extent of their capabilities. Our spies are on the ground. Let us wait for their report before making any rash decisions." On Earth, the Council spies were slowly piecing together the mystery. Disguised as humans, they moved through cities, infiltrating research facilities and military bases. But everywhere they looked, they found the same thing: calm, confident humans carrying on with their lives. What are they hiding? The Heckner stealth operative muttered as he watched a bustling marketplace. How can they be so calm when a fleet of Krexans is in orbit? The Loranian telepath had been studying human behavior closely. It's not just their technology, or lack of it. It's their mindset. Humans have a resilience I've never seen before. They don't just survive chaos. They thrive in it. Mindset won't stop plasma cannons, the Zenari linguist argued. There has to be more to this. As they debated, a sudden commotion drew their attention. A group of humans had gathered around a large screen, watching a live broadcast from the United Nations. Maria Wells, Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Council, stood at a podium, addressing the world. Her calm demeanor and steady voice projected confidence. "To the people of Earth," she began, "and to those watching from beyond our planet, let me assure you, we are in no danger. The Krexans have underestimated us, and now they are learning a valuable lesson." Her words sent ripples through the Galactic Council, which was monitoring the broadcast. "We have no intention of starting a war," Wells continued. "But if the Krexans insist on attacking us, they will only continue to fail. Earth is prepared for whatever they bring. Let them come." The room erupted into applause, and the broadcast ended. In orbit, Vorsk watched the speech with seething anger. "Prepared for whatever we bring," he repeated, his voice a low growl. "We'll see how prepared they are when we crush their cities beneath our boots." But even as he issued orders for another ground assault, doubts began to creep into his mind. The humans' confidence was unnerving. They weren't bluffing. He could feel it. As the Krexans launched their second wave of ground troops, humanity did something no one expected. Instead of meeting the invaders with weapons, they let them land unopposed. Krexan soldiers emerged from their dropships, expecting fierce resistance, but found none. The troops advanced cautiously, their weapons drawn, but every step they took seemed to drain their strength. Their advanced armor, designed to withstand the harshest conditions, began to fail. Their targeting systems glitched, their power sources depleted faster than expected. Within hours, the Krexans were retreating to their ships, their forces in disarray. In the Galactic Council chamber, the confusion deepened. "This is absurd," said a Varanus scientist, reviewing the data. "The Krexans' technology is state-of-the-art. How is Earth rendering it useless?" Talvar leaned back in her chair, her expression thoughtful. Perhaps the answer isn't in their technology. Perhaps it's in the humans themselves. What do you mean? Asked the Kralin ambassador. Talvar hesitated before answering. Humans have always been different. Their adaptability, their resilience. We've seen it in their history. Maybe their strength comes from more than just their planet. As the Krexans regrouped, the Galactic Council's spies finally stumbled upon a breakthrough. In a hidden research facility deep underground, they discovered a strange energy signature unlike anything they had encountered before. This could be it, the telepath whispered as they recorded the data, the source of their power. But before they could transmit their findings, the facility's alarms blared. The spies barely escaped, but the experience left them shaken. What we found changes everything, the linguist said. If the humans are using this, the galaxy will never be the same. The hidden power of Earth. The Krexans were nearing the end of their patience. Every attempt to conquer Earth had failed. Their weapons malfunctioned. Their ground forces couldn't stand up to the strange forces at play on the planet. Supreme Commander Vorsk paced furiously in his command room, his hands clenched into fists. They mock us, Vorsk muttered, glaring at the data feeds showing the Krexans' repeated failures. Every single assault has been repelled. We can't let them defy us again. This time, we will bring everything we have. His officers hesitated but ultimately nodded. Vorsk's fury was matched only by his determination to prove that the Krexans could conquer any world, no matter how strange. Meanwhile, the spies sent by the Galactic Council had uncovered something extraordinary. After months of studying Earth and its people, they had stumbled upon an ancient underground facility. The site had been hidden for centuries, forgotten by nearly everyone. But what they found there could change the balance of power in the entire galaxy. The facility was filled with technology far beyond what humans were believed to possess. But it wasn't the technology that intrigued the spies. It was the energy. We found it, the Loranian telepath said, her voice filled with awe. This is the source. This is what's protecting Earth from every attack. In the deepest part of the facility, the spies found a massive energy core pulsating with raw power. It was unlike anything they had ever seen. It seemed to hum with a life of its own. The core was surrounded by strange markings, ones that the Zenari linguist couldn't understand. But one thing was clear. This energy had been on Earth for millennia, lying dormant until now. We've been blind, the linguist muttered, her voice trembling. The humans didn't develop this. They were chosen by it. The discovery sent shockwaves through the Galactic Council. The secret was finally out. The energy was not of human origin, but it had bonded with humanity in a way that made them its protectors. The Council's spies speculated that Earth had always been meant to act as a guardian, perhaps not just for themselves, but for the entire galaxy. This changes everything, said High Speaker Talvar, her voice filled with concern. The energy on Earth is not just powerful, it's ancient. We've been underestimating the humans this entire time. The Kralin ambassador's eyes narrowed. If they control that power, they could become unstoppable. What if they choose to use it against us? Talvar raised her hand to calm the room. First, we must understand how this energy works. We can't act out of fear. We need to find a way to communicate with them. On Earth, humanity had no idea how close they were to the truth being revealed. Life continued as normal, but an underlying sense of tension lingered. News outlets reported that the Krexans were preparing for a final assault, but the world's leaders seemed unconcerned. Maria Wells, Earth's ambassador, stood at a press conference with confidence. The Krexans have failed every time, she said. They will fail again. We have no reason to believe they will succeed this time. But she knew something the rest of the world didn't. The true source of Earth's power was growing stronger, and soon, humanity would have to face the consequences of wielding such an immense force. As the Krexan fleet began its final approach, the Council spies decided to take action. They knew that if they were to survive the coming battle, they would have to understand the power that protected Earth. With their findings in hand, they set off for the hidden facility in the heart of Earth, hoping to find answers. But when they arrived, they found something unexpected. The energy core was not just an ancient source of power, it was a living entity, responding to the presence of the spies. The closer they got, the more intense the energy became. It seemed to be aware of their intentions. "This is incredible," the telepath whispered, her eyes wide with realization. "It's alive. This energy isn't just a force. It's sentient. It's been waiting for the right moment to wake up." The Zenari linguist, studying the ancient symbols around the core, nodded slowly. The humans didn't create this. They were chosen. They're the protectors. Chosen by what? The Heknar operative asked. "I think we're looking at the true power of Earth," the linguist replied. "This is a force that's been lying dormant for eons. It's been waiting for humanity to unlock it, to guide it. And now, the Krexans are pushing them to do just that." Back in space, Vorsk was preparing for the final assault. This time, the Krexans would not fail. The entire fleet was ready, and the order had been given: destroy Earth or face annihilation. As they launched their weapons, the planet's atmosphere seemed to react. Waves of energy rippled through the air, invisible but powerful. The Krexan weapons, once again, failed. Plasma cannons short-circuited in midair. Gravitational bombs fizzled out. The Krexans, once so certain of their victory, watched helplessly as their attacks were turned away. "What is happening?" One officer gasped, staring at the monitors. "Our weapons are useless." "It's the core," the scientist said, shaking his head in disbelief. "The energy, it's rejecting us." The humans, meanwhile, felt the shift in the air. They didn't know what was happening, but they knew one thing. They were not alone. Earth's energy was guiding them, protecting them. As the Krexans' weapons failed again, Maria Wells stepped onto a world stage to deliver a message. "To the Krexans, and to any who wish to harm Earth, we stand united. We will not be conquered. This world and its power belong to us now. If you continue your attacks, you will face the full force of Earth's will. No more threats. No more violence." The Galactic Reckoning. The retreat of the Krexan fleet was nothing short of humiliating. Their ships, once brimming with confidence, now limped back to the outskirts of Earth's orbit. Supreme Commander Vorsk, his pride shattered, seethed in his command room. The failure was unbearable. Every tactic, every weapon they had used, had been nullified by the strange force protecting Earth. "Prepare for another assault," Vorsk growled, his claws curling into fists. "We will not bow to these humans. We will not let them mock the Krexans." His officers exchanged nervous glances. The failures were mounting, and the once unbeaten Krexans were starting to question their ability to defeat this unknown enemy. One officer hesitated. "Sir, what if we can't win? What if Earth's power is too much?" Vorsk's eyes flashed dangerously. "You dare question the strength of the Krexans? We are the most advanced empire in the galaxy. We will crush them. Prepare the fleet." Despite his fierce words, doubt lingered in the hearts of his crew. Deep down, they knew something was changing. The humans had become something they couldn't easily defeat. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council was in chaos. News of the Krexan retreat had spread like wildfire, and now every species in the galaxy was scrambling to understand the implications. The humans had shown themselves to be not only resilient but immensely powerful. High Speaker Talvar paced the council chamber, her expression grim. This is no longer just a matter of conquest. Earth has become a symbol of something much greater. Their power is unlike anything we've encountered. The Kralin ambassador leaned forward, his voice thick with tension. "What do we do? Do we try to negotiate with them, or do we prepare for the worst?" "We must learn more," Talvar replied firmly. "This energy they possess, it's not just a defense mechanism. It's a force that could change the galaxy. If we don't understand it, We may find ourselves facing a threat we cannot contain. The Varanus delegate raised a hand. The energy doesn't just protect them, it empowers them. The humans have tapped into something far older than any of us realized. We need to find a way to communicate with them, or we risk an unstoppable conflict. As the debate raged on, a sense of urgency filled the room. The council was divided. Some called for an alliance with humanity, hoping to harness their power. Others sought Earth's power as a growing threat that needed to be neutralized. But none of them could ignore the fact that humanity had something they could not easily understand or defeat. Back on Earth, humanity's resolve was unshaken. Maria Wells, Earth's ambassador, had spent the last few days preparing for the inevitable diplomatic storm. She knew the Galactic Council would soon send emissaries to negotiate or demand answers, but humanity wasn't interested in submitting to alien powers. They had learned to rely on themselves, and Earth's newfound power made them stronger than ever. In a private meeting, Wells spoke with a select group of Earth's leaders. "We've proven we can defend ourselves, but we must be cautious," she said, her voice calm yet firm. "The Council may try to strike deals, but they won't be doing it out of kindness. They're desperate to understand how we've tapped into this power. If we're not careful, we could find ourselves caught in a web of galactic politics." One of her advisors, a military strategist, spoke up. "We don't need to fear them. Earth has already shown it can handle any threat. Let them come. We'll be ready." But Wells shook her head. "It's not just about fighting anymore. We're facing something much larger. This energy, it's not just ours. It's ancient, and it's awakening. We have to understand it before anyone else does. The future of Earth, and possibly the galaxy, depends on it." The Krexan fleet, battered and broken, was returning to their homeworld. Supreme Commander Vorsk had reluctantly accepted that they needed a different approach. Earth's power was too overwhelming to confront head-on. The humans weren't simply defending themselves. They were becoming the very thing they had been trying to conquer. "They won't back down," Vorsk muttered, his voice tinged with frustration. "But neither will we. It's time we find a way to break through their defenses." His officers worked tirelessly to uncover any weaknesses in the energy field protecting Earth. But the more they learned, the less they understood. The energy seemed to have no logical pattern. It was alive, chaotic, and unpredictable. The Krexans couldn't make sense of it. But Vorsk was not one to give up easily. He turned to his secret weapon, the Markan Disruptor. The weapon, still in development, was a device capable of disrupting and destabilizing any energy field, no matter how powerful. If it worked, Earth's defenses would fall. As the Krexans prepared their final gambit, the Galactic Council moved forward with their plan to engage humanity. A diplomatic envoy was assembled, and ambassadors from multiple species were chosen to make contact with Earth's leaders. They hoped that through diplomacy, they could gain a better understanding of humanity's newfound power. The envoy's leader, the Zenari diplomat Elaris, addressed the council in a low voice. "We must approach with caution. The humans are not like the other species we've encountered. They are not bound by fear, and they are not easily swayed by promises of power." The Varanus delegate nodded. "We have underestimated them. We need to be honest about our intentions. If we want to avoid war, we must find a way to coexist with them." Talvar looked out the window, her expression unreadable. "The question is not whether we can coexist with humanity. It is whether we can afford not to." On Earth, the first official meeting with the Galactic Council's emissaries was set. As the ships descended toward Earth's surface, Maria Wells and Earth's leaders prepared for the next phase of their future. They knew the stakes were high. The arrival of the Council representatives would determine whether Earth would be embraced as a galactic power or treated as a threat to be controlled. Wells stood at the podium, her expression unwavering. "Let them come," she said. "We will decide the future of Earth, not them. We've proven we can stand on our own, and we will protect our world from anyone who tries to take it." The final choice. The Galactic Council's emissaries arrived on Earth with high hopes, but they carried with them a deep sense of uncertainty. Their ships, sleek and imposing, descended into Earth's atmosphere under the watchful eyes of millions. This was a critical moment. The future of Earth, and possibly the galaxy, was about to be decided. Maria Wells, standing at the head of Earth's negotiating team, watched as the alien vessels touched down. She had prepared for this day for weeks. The Council was coming not just to offer peace, but to probe, to understand, and perhaps to test humanity. Earth had already shown that it could stand up to any threat. But this was different. This was diplomacy. And it was a delicate game. The first contact with the emissaries was tense, but calm. The leaders of Earth, including military officials, scientists, and diplomats, stood ready. They had rehearsed every response, every potential question that could be thrown their way. They knew what was at stake. When the doors to the alien ships opened, the first figure to step out was Ilaris, the Zanari diplomat. His silver skin shimmered under the sunlight, and his large black eyes scanned the crowd. Behind him, other ambassadors followed, representing a dozen different species of the Galactic Council. Maria Wells stepped forward, her expression firm but respectful. "Welcome to Earth," she said. "We're ready to discuss our future, but understand this. We are not here to beg for peace. We seek understanding, and we are prepared to defend our planet against any threat." Ilaris studied her carefully, then nodded slowly. "We come in peace," he said, his voice smooth but laced with an underlying tension. "But we have to understand your power, humanity. We cannot afford another war. What is this energy you wield, and why have you not shared it with the rest of the galaxy?" Wells paused before responding. "This energy is not something we created. It is something that chose us. It has been on Earth for millennia, dormant, waiting for us to be ready. We didn't ask for it, but we will not let anyone take it away from us. It belongs to Earth, and it is what protects us." Ilaris' eyes narrowed. "We've seen the evidence of this energy. It has repelled the Crexan fleet. It seems alive." "It is," Wells replied. "And it's not just a force. It is a guide, a protector. It has always been here, but only now have we begun to understand it." While the diplomat spoke, hidden deep in the Crexan fleet, Supreme Commander Vorsk was preparing his final move. The Crexans had learned from their failures, and they were ready to use their ultimate weapon, the Markan Disruptor. This device, capable of destabilizing any energy field, would bring Earth's strange power to an end. "If the Council won't do it, we will," Vorsk muttered, his eyes locked on the monitors that displayed Earth's surface. "This will be the end of them." But as he prepared to launch the weapon, something unexpected happened. His communications officer turned toward him with wide eyes. "Sir, we've received a transmission. From Earth." Vorsk's brow furrowed in disbelief. "Earth? What do they want now?" "It's a warning. They've detected the Markan Disruptor. They know what we're planning." Back on Earth, Wells had received an encrypted message from an unknown source. The warning was clear. The Crexans were planning to launch their final weapon, the Markan Disruptor, at Earth. The message urged humanity to act fast if they were to prevent the weapon from activating. "We've been monitoring the Crexans' fleet," Wells said, turning to her team. "They're planning something big. We can't let them get away with it. The energy we've been protecting isn't just for defense. It's part of the balance of this galaxy. We must show the Crexans that we will not be threatened." The room fell silent. No one had expected this turn of events. The Crexans had already failed several times in their attempts to conquer Earth. Now they were desperate enough to unleash their ultimate weapon. On the surface, Earth's leaders quickly organized a global response. The message was clear. Humanity would not allow itself to be intimidated. Maria Wells addressed the people of Earth, her voice steady and powerful. "To the people of Earth, and to those watching from the galaxy, we have proven that we will stand firm against any foe. The Crexans may have brought their weapons, but they are nothing compared to the strength of Earth's resolve. We will protect this world, no matter the cost. Our energy is not for conquest, it is for survival. Across the world, millions watched, their hearts swelling with pride. Earth was united, prepared to face whatever came next. The Crexans launched their Markan disruptor, and it sped toward Earth at unimaginable speeds. But as it neared the planet, something extraordinary happened. The energy that had been protecting Earth flared to life once more. It was as though the planet itself was awake, aware of the impending danger. The force surrounding Earth surged, intensifying with each passing second. The disruptor collided with Earth's energy field, and for a moment there was silence. Then, a massive shockwave rippled through space, as if the entire galaxy had been shaken. The Crexan weapon exploded in a brilliant burst of light, but it had no effect. Earth's energy absorbed the blast, rendering it useless. The Crexans watched in disbelief as their final weapon vanished without a trace. Supreme Commander Vorsk was stunned. "Impossible," he whispered. "How can this be?" The Galactic Council, having been closely monitoring the situation, was now in shock. "The weapon didn't work," Talvar said, her voice filled with awe. "They found a way to neutralize it. The humans are more powerful than we imagined." Ilaris, standing with Wells, nodded gravely. "We were wrong to doubt you. You have proven that you are not just survivors. You are protectors of a force we cannot understand." Wells smiled, her eyes gleaming with determination. "We are Earth, and no one will take this world from us."